If you walk through the empty halls of an old school after dark, you might hear the echoes of lessons long forgotten, the creak of worn-out floors beneath invisible feet, the rustle of a curtain where no breeze should be. But some echoes are more than memories. Some stories were never meant to be erased, especially the ones drawn in charcoal and fear. This is the story of a girl who never spoke much, but saw more than anyone ever should. The girl who drew the dead. The haunted sketchbook of Elmridge School. Tucked away in the thick woods of Hampshire, England, stood Elmridge Academy, a stone-built boarding school for children of the quiet countryside. Founded in 1872, the school had always had a strange air about it, a sense that the past never really left. The classrooms still bore chalk scribbles from decades earlier, the dormitory doors still jammed like they did in the 1930s. And in the far west wing, the old art room sat untouched since the spring of 1998. The doors had been boarded, the windows sealed, and no one was allowed to speak of the girl who once sat in that very room. But she had a name: Lillian Hart. Lillian Hart was 12, pale, frail. She rarely spoke, even when spoken to. Her parents had died in a house fire when she was 5. Since then, she'd bounced from one home to another until the school finally took her in as a ward. She never played outside, never laughed, never cried, but she drew. Every day, without fail, Lillian sat at the far corner of the art room and sketched. Not flowers, or castles, or cartoons like the others, but faces. And each face was twisted in terror. Wide eyes, mouths mid-scream, hands raised as if trying to stop something only they could see. At first, the teachers assumed it was trauma, a coping mechanism, until one of the boys she drew, a tall, freckled student named Peter Langley, was found dead 2 days later, drowned in the school lake. The expression on his face when they pulled him from the water, exactly like the one in her sketch. In the weeks that followed, 6 more people died. A teacher, drawn with his throat slashed, was found dead in a hit and run. A prefect, drawn hanging upside down, was electrocuted during maintenance work. Each face was eerily accurate. Each death happened after Lillian had drawn them, never before. The other students began avoiding her, calling her cursed. Whispers filled the halls. She sees death. She makes it happen. Her sketchbook's haunted. No one could prove anything, but fear doesn't need proof. It only needs belief. And soon enough, the belief was strong enough to make the walls shiver. March 27th, 1998. The storm that night was relentless. Lightning lit the skies above Elmridge like flashbulbs. The trees howled. And inside the art room, at exactly 4:44 p.m., Lillian Hart vanished, right in front of a full class. One moment she was sitting there, sketching. The next, her pencil fell to the ground. Her chair slid back, and she was gone. No scream, no shadow, just an open sketchbook. The last page blank. The school searched for weeks. Police scoured every inch, but she was never found. Soon after, the art wing was closed, the room sealed, and her name erased from the records, as if she'd never existed. 27 years later, in 2025, Elmridge was reopened as a private day school after major renovations. A young art teacher, Ms. Helen Avery, was assigned to restore the Old West Wing. She dusted the shelves, rehung the curtains, and then, in the back of a locked supply cabinet, she found it. A black leather sketchbook, untouched by time. No dust, no mold, just the faint scent of charcoal and something metallic. She opened it. Inside were pages and pages of faces, drawn with terrifying precision, twisted, screaming, eyes wide open, as if still alive, inside the page. And on the very last page, her own face, drawn, sleeping. That night, Miss Avery dreamed of Lillian, standing in the rain, sketching, smiling softly, and then whispering something she couldn't hear. Over the next week, a student slipped on the stairs. Another was hit by a falling bookshelf. A third was found unconscious in the toilets, eyes wide open, whispering nonsense. Each of their faces appeared in the sketchbook the day before their incidents, and the drawings weren't in Miss Avery's handwriting. They weren't hers at all. The sketches were just there. She tried to burn it, tried to throw it away, but the book always returned. On her desk, in her bag, sometimes open to a page that hadn't been drawn yet. Until one day, she saw something terrifying. Her own body, eyes sewn shut, face screaming, and in the background, a girl with no face, holding a pencil. Desperate, Helen dug through old archives. She found hidden records of Lillian's disappearance, interview notes, witness reports, a torn photo. She found mention of an underground room beneath the art wing, once used as a punishment space in the 1800s. Helen broke in. There, beneath dust and time, she found drawings, dozens of them, scratched into the stone walls, not just of people, but things, twisted beings, faceless figures, and in the middle of it all, a single name, repeated, Yisola, a forgotten spirit, a whispered demon once believed to speak through children, using art as its voice. Lillian hadn't been haunted, she had been chosen, and now, Helen was next. Helen made one last attempt. She gathered every piece of the sketchbook, lit a fire in the woods behind the school, and threw the book in. Screams, not hers, echoed in the wind. A face tried to form in the flames, and then silence. For a moment, it seemed over, until, a month later, in a thrift store 200 miles away, a young girl picked up a black leather sketchbook from a dusty shelf. She smiled, opened the cover, and began to draw. Some stories aren't written in books. They're drawn in silence, etched in fear, and passed from one trembling hand to the next. If you ever find an old sketchbook, one you're sure you didn't buy, look at the last page. If it's blank, walk away, because the next face it draws could be yours. Thank you for walking with us through the forgotten halls of history. If you believe the past leaves traces, subscribe, share, and stay curious, because somewhere out there, a pencil is still moving, and the truth is still waiting.